Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to support this bill, sponsored by Senator Kipchumba Murkomen, the County Hall of Fame bill, Senate Bill number 9 of 2011. This will be my second time contributing to this bill because of the sibling rivalry between the National Assembly and the Senate. Mr. Speaker, without a doubt, this is one of the most important bills that every country, progressive country, that wants to motivate its citizens should have. Mr. Speaker, I always ask myself what criteria is used in terms of rewarding people, commending people for different works that they do. A lot of Kenyans, most of us included, spend most of our time to be able to give to this country, committed, not because we want to be recognized, but because we care about this country. But for the Senate to now think that it is important to begin recognizing these individuals from the rural parts is something commendable. Mr. Speaker, we have very talented individuals in this country. This country is leading in terms of technology. If you go to Ngong Road, you'll find a lot of technology hubs. There are a lot of startup companies that have sold for millions of dollars. I remember I was talking to a friend of mine recently and told me that one startup company here in Kenya sold for more than $600 million. That shows you that there's a lot of talent that needs to be recognized. That was creativity developed by a Kenyan who should actually be recognized. Mr. Speaker, one of the reasons why I like to support this bill is because it encourages creativity. We want to be able to recognize individuals who are doing so well in business in their communities. You know, when I was growing up, there was a Somali man that I knew who lived in our neighborhood, and he had the biggest wholesale shop. But in that wholesale shop, you will find everything. Anytime you want something, even if it's not available, he will find a way to make sure that he gets it. And he was very creative. Even if something will not meet your standard, everyone knew and everyone spoke about that person. You know, Abdi Ashi. So it is important that county governments recognize these individuals. I love the aspect of having public participation because then people participate, and sometimes it helps do away with this nonsense, this corruption that now seems to be the only thing that thrives in this country, where for you to be recognized, you must oil someone's path. You know, it is quite frustrating to even imagine, you know, a state commendation of someone eating their own food. Yet there are people who spend their entire life trying to ensure that they create a good environment for everyone in this country. Mr. Speaker, we have young girls in this country. I can't remember the names, but I remember one young girl who has planted almost 10 million trees. That is a girl who ought to be commended. When I went to the Mau Forest, when we were planting trees, she said, this will be my 10th million tree. I've seen in our devolution conference agenda during the annual devolution conference, which will be held, I think, in Makueni, the president will be leading the nation in planting 2 million trees. If that young girl could come there and the president would take the time to actually recognize that person, and I think I have to remember her name because she really deserves to be recognized and to be commended for the good job that she does. Mr. Speaker, we have young men in this country who dedicate their time in transporting pregnant women in areas where there are no ambulances. They modify their boda to ensure that it can carry a pregnant woman because we have failed in ensuring that we devolved all the services equally, we develop every area, provide ambulances, but these young people continue doing their job on a daily basis, and they are known by Kenyans. So this aspect of public participation is something which will be able to help us. One of the other areas that I think we need to emphasize on, and maybe I don't know whether we have time to amend it. I believe we do. I'd like to maybe request Senator Murkomen to create a channel where people from different communities can be able to recommend people, propose people who should be recommended, so that when they come in, it is that village. Because you don't need to be a hero for the entire county. You can be a hero for your small little village of Olompokishi, of Ntulele. You can be a hero of your small little village in Kilgoris. And the people in that community know you on a daily basis, what you do for them, the way you give up, your luxuries to be able to support them, and the way they call your name. Waswahili husema tenda nenda zako. But I know now this bill is actually trying to say, even if umetenda nema na unaenda zako, at least people have seen that, and they now recognize you for the good work that you've done. So, Mr. Speaker, this is a quite timely bill, and it is one that will help us unite the entire country. I hope that we can have a ceremony for all counties, to be able to forward the names of the people who they consider as heroes on an annual basis. Yesterday we were talking about amending the County Governments Act, where the county governments will be submitting their annual progress plan. I think in their annual progress plan, they should also consider a way of saying, we identified X number of heroes in this small little village of Sagamian in Narok County, or in this small little village of Loita, and Tasegra or somewhere else. And now these ones we have determined that we will sponsor them for them to continue promoting this heroism. That is the way we develop a nation. You must always have a mentor and a mentee. So those mentees should always be able to develop and they pay it forward, so that in this country we can actually be able to live well. Mr. Speaker, if you look at, recently a friend of mine sent me a small video of children crossing the road in Japan. And when they cross the road in Japan, even if it is their right of way, they go back after they finish crossing the road, they bow to say thank you. I'm even told that in Japan, in schools in Japan, there are no janitors, because the children are trained so well such that they can be able to do what? To clean those toilets, So these are the kind of small things that we do. If we can start trying to instill that knowledge of responsibility, then we'll be able to recognize real leaders, but not people who are connected. Because I dare say this, if you are to line up all those people who have been given state commendations and ask them to tell us why they were given, they'll tell you, I don't know. I just found myself being called and being dressed very well, nicely, and what does it really mean? So I think it is important for us to put a meaning into it, so that when people are commended for the service to this country, it can have a meaning. Because nowadays it doesn't have a meaning. You hear somebody with his name, Senator Derito Kinyua, CGH. So you ask yourself, what is that CGH? Senator Derito doesn't even know that. And I'm not suggesting that the speaker or the senator of Laikipia will not know that. But most people don't really know the importance of it. Finally, Mr. Speaker, I like the fact that in the bill, it also does not make it permanent. If you are commended and you actually enroll in this Hall of Fame, and you end up behaving like a hooligan, there's a way to remove you. So it will actually help people to be able to live a better life and to be able to live in a respectful environment. So, Mr. Speaker, because of time, I beg to support.